Hello everyone, welcome to the stream. My name is Layla, I'm a 3D character artist working in the animation industry, and today we'll be continuing to sculpt one of the characters from the movie Vampire Hunter D, Bloodlust, whose name is Layla, just with a different spelling. If you don't know what I'm talking about, we started this character last stream. This is her. She is this really cool vampire hunter. And yeah, just really wanted to play around with the proportions, the stylization of her. Idea I had in my mind was to make her in the style of Marvel Rivals. Kinda like that Icy character from there. I haven't played myself, but I do like the style quite a bit. Hello, Kirim Ek, welcome. Hello, Uzair, Personal Diary, and Jazzy, welcome. Hey guys, you're so pretty. Thank you. Jazzy Chicken, awesome movie by the way. It's amazing. Like why don't they make movies like that anymore, right? The plot is great and simple yet complex at the same time. Love to have a teacher like you. Well, thank you. Hello, Steve. Welcome. So, disregard the face. I spent maybe 5 minutes on it during our last Discord hangout while I was like giving people feedback. I quickly just mocked something up, but obviously she looks like an alien. You'll see her, no, out of the way, her face on the other side of the screen. That's kind of what we're going for. If you want to see more images, you can just type in Layla Vampire Hunter D. But yeah, let's get into it. How's everyone doing? Also, how's the music? You can't hear the music. Huh. But it's playing. Okay. It should be playing now. If you guys could confirm that you can hear some like faint background music, that's the idea. Okay. I think I'm just gonna bring her face somewhat close to me. Yeah, but barely, just the beats. How about now? I raised it slightly. It shouldn't like overpower my voice, but it should be there. Her mouth is really small. If you like look at the whole face. She's a very interesting character. in terms of like proportions of the face. I'll do my best. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Well, if that's better. Also, it will vary from track to track. So you guys let me know if it's at any point too loud. I'll turn it down. Hey, how's everyone doing? Are you guys working on anything? Sculpting along? Got a very sharp nose. Kind of like if you've ever seen Attack on Titan. Any Lionheart? Kind of like that. Hey Sketchy Squirrel. Welcome to the stream. Now, her eyes seem a bit too big, so let's just mask them by holding down Control and painting on the mesh. Now you can like click on the canvas to invert the selection, and then you can click on the mesh to blur the selection. The reason why I'm switching between them is because the algorithm of the blur in ZBrush works in a way that it blurs, I think, outwards, not inwards, so you kind of need to blur it in a couple of different ways to get the desired result. At least that's what I've found for myself. Let's mask the middle a bit more. Now let's turn on local symmetry and disable dynamic. And this way, mask the nose a bit more. This way we can scale down the eyes with the pivot in mind where we placed it. Because if you don't, then it'll be weird. So just trust me on that one. Also probably should turn on perspective. Yeah, you guys are quiet today, so I'm just gonna keep on working. think I should say that there'll be a break in my streams for a month of June because of some traveling that has to be done, and then I'll be back in July. So if you've got any questions, you can ask them now. Ooh, also, I finally found out how to get rid of the points on the curve. If that person who asked us here, it's for you. So go to stroke, curve modifiers. Let's select the brush that has them activated like this one. And let's say you were playing around with the graph. To delete the point, all you have to do, you don't have to press any keys, just drag it off the grid. Pin it to the side. Just drag it off the grid. Amazing. I know. The other thing I found out is if you want to make this transition smoother, harder, as in like there is no fall off whatsoever, you drag it off the screen and bring it back, and it becomes harsh. Same here. Off and back. And if you want to reverse it, just do it again. One of those things I never knew I needed, but now I do, and thanks Ian for letting me know. But yeah, that's how you do it. Okay. Back to sculpting. What's that new local button above local symmetry? Is it new? Oh. I believe it's the way that you will navigate around the model. So I think local will constrain it to your model, to like the bounding box of your model, and it will be easier to move around it, but maybe turning it off would make sense if you are working with like a bigger scene, like an environment, and you have lots of different pieces you want to focus on. Maybe that's why I never ever used it. It's always on for me. Hey, that's me. God, who would have known dragging was the fix? Yes. You see, you teach me, I teach you. I never knew I needed it, but now I am so excited about this thing that always was there, but I never knew how to remove the point. Now you do. Now I do. Let's look at her face as a whole. Right now I feel like my head is too long. Not my head, her head. You know what I mean. Now, should we cheat and just do this? It's a speed sculpt. Ooh, out of the way. Much faster this way. Don't tell anyone, okay? No one has to know. I mean, these tools are here for me to use, so I'm gonna do just that. I'm gonna get rid of this bit. Hi, hey pink hearts, welcome. Might be a bit too close. Again. Let me do it one more time. Seems to be the place. Got one massive earlobe right now, but it's okay. We'll fix it. One second, gotta drink my protein shake. Gotta get those gains in. Especially since I'm vegetarian. It's hard to get the protein intake. Okay, something happened with her lower jaw, and we're gonna fix it. Not sure what exactly. Fine. The thing with these anime characters, when you need with my tongue today, when you need to translate them into 3D, you need to make most of the areas look very, not flat, but like smooth, and there shouldn't be much definition unless it's like a very, I don't know, muscular character, and or maybe like very thin character and they have like all of these bones sticking out, then you can accentuate them. But with someone who's like of a medium build, let's say she's in like muscular build, we're trying to capture her face from 2D medium, like anime. All of the faces are so flat, so if you add too many wrinkles or pores, it starts to look weird. So I'll do my best. Capture it without making it look gross. Kind of like the whole shtick of stylization, right? Maybe we should give her some eyes so I can start working with the eye sockets. Здравствуйте, рад наконец-то попасть на ваш стрим. Приветствую. Рада, что вы тут. Hey, do you know if ZBrush runs on Linux? That's a good question. I'm not sure. It says that it's not supported. I'm sorry. No native Linux support. Okay. Perhaps there is a way to do it with like emulators and stuff, but I don't believe there is like an official way to use ZBrush. Good morning. Hey, Tiki Kashi, welcome. Is it possible to change the light in the viewport? Sometimes the shadow makes it hard to see some areas. Yeah, that's really easy. I'll show you in a second. Hi Layla, have you tried incorporating AI into your 3D workflow? No. Does ChatGPT count? If I'm really stuck, I'll ask it. But I try not to because of the environmental impact that it has. I believe AI will eventually become part of our workflow and I'll have to adapt, but so far I haven't been actively seeking out ways to use AI in my workflow. It's just not something I'm interested in, like, especially if it's gonna take away any of the creative parts of the process. I'm absolutely not interested in it. Only if I have to will I learn it. The changing the light is very simple. Go to light. Let's dock it to the side. You see this pick dot? It might be like orange if you're using your default UI. So this is your main light, and ZBrush by default only uses one light source. So if we were to turn it off, you'll see that you see all the lights are turned off. So now let me just switch to another material that I won't use, like this one. Maybe it affects all materials. Yeah, it might. Okay, so what you need to do is just go back, turn on the second one by double clicking, and you'll see that it lights up from another area. So right now it's kind of like from the bottom right towards the top. The camera is flipped, so it makes no sense. Towards the top. And what you can do, you can like drag this dot around the ball, and that's how you position the light in ZBrush. And you can do it with the main one as well. I just don't want to move it because I like the default position of it. But yeah, now you have it lit from this side, and you can add for eight of them at the same time, which is plenty. If you ever wanted to position this light behind the sphere, so right now it's kind of like lighting from the front. If you wanted to create like a rim light, I believe it's just alt clicking. Yes. So by alt clicking on the dot, it will place it on the other side of the sphere. And you can control intensity. You see, there's like a rim light now, and we can make it like pretty pink color. There you go. Lighting in ZBrush. I'll stay with my default though. No worries, I prefer Blender anyways. Fair enough. Have you tried Blender Sculpt? If so, what are your thoughts? Does it pose as a viable alternative to ZBrush? I actually started with Blender in 2014. That was the first time I tried 3D. It was before Blender was a big thing. I liked it. However, as soon as I got my first job in a studio, they taught me how to use Maya and Houdini, and I never looked back. There were some sculpting tools in Blender at the time, but they weren't very advanced. Sculpting was very limited, and I haven't returned to it since because I discovered ZBrush in 2018. Yes, 18. So 7 years ago. And yeah, there was no point of coming back to Blender because I love ZBrush so much. I have seen a lot of great works being made in Blender, and it's amazing. But it's hardly really about like the software. Like, not everything is gonna get solved if you switch from one software to the other. One might be more capable than the other one in handling like heavier geometry, and I think ZBrush is superior. If you're working with like high density meshes, ZBrush can handle a lot more than Blender can, from what I've heard. That's one big win for ZBrush. But other than that, I only heard great things about it. Let's append a sphere. My preferred method of making... Where is it? Oh. My preferred method of making eyelids. Scale it down, rotate it 90 degrees. Place it here. Is that how big her eyes are? Yeah, they're huge. Maybe they'll be even bigger. Depends on how surprised she is in most of these photos. She's so surprised. Beautiful character though. One of the few characters that I've ever encountered with my name. Different spelling, but still. Same name. Brilliant. How do you texture a high poly bake from ZBrush? Imagine you have a wood and a metal ornament over it. How would you bake an ID map from ZBrush Sculpt? How do you texture a high poly bake from ZBrush? What do you mean texture bake? Imagine you have wood and metal ornament over it. Yeah, you usually don't texture stuff in ZBrush. You can do some poly painting, like just adding colors, and it's as easy as just you fill in the object with one color and then you pick the other one and you paint, right? Let me undo. But I'm not sure what you mean. How do you texture high poly bake from ZBrush? How do you bake in ZBrush? There's some baking, but I use Marmoset for my baking. Usually in Blender we just assign materials or use vertex colors and it bakes ID map from high poly. Yeah, you can do that. Just assign red to this. Sorry, to this. Maybe there'll be like green here. Now you need to make sure that this mesh has some UVs, so we can just try and give it some. Okay, so now it's got UVs, so let's check them out. There they are. Beautiful. Now you can just go to texture map. Before that, in the UV map you can define how big your map should be, so let's say 4K. Texture map, create, new from polypaint. There you go, we have this map. Now you can just clone it. It will appear here, but if you go to texture, it will also be here. The way ZBrush reads all the objects, it flips the V axis in the UVs, so you have to do this before you export. Flip V, and then you export it out as like any file you want. So that's how I would bake IDs if you want to do it out of ZBrush. Yeah. ZBrush is definitely better, but Blender has come a long way in recent years. It's for sure a viable alternative for professional work. There you go. I'm not a fan of Maxon overcharging for their subs. They should update their licensing to make it more accessible like Adobe, or even Houdini Unreal licensing. This is why I hope Blender improves to force Maxon to actually compete and not take us for granted. But yeah, I like ZBrush from what I've learned so far. Look. Not in charge of any of Maxon's what's the word, pricing policies or anything like that. I'm just here to stream my favorite software, hands down, out of all of them. ZBrush is the one, and yeah, bring positive vibes. Not here to start any riots about who's better and who's worse. Okay. eye shape is very interesting too. So let's adjust it. What's interesting too is that her corner isn't really down, it's very much up here. So that'll be a cool challenge to make it work. The classic software wars. Yeah, I mean, I get it. If I could, I'd make all the software free to use for beginners especially. But it's just not the case. I don't hold that power. Like that. Now let's call them eyes and let's save. Now Ctrl-Shift-D on your keyboard to create copy. Call them eyelids. I'll explain how we're gonna do it in a second. Let's go hit Ctrl-Shift on your keyboard. Now go here. Let's do slice curve. Now I want to slice from this corner of the eye to the other. Something like that. Maybe a bit lower. It only sliced one side, so I'm gonna mirror it and then mirror and weld to create like copy on the other side. Okay, that's good. Now Ctrl-Shift, click on this one, bring up a custom menu for me, or you can find close holes in modify topology. Close holes. And let's do the same here. Now what it did, it created two separate geometries for the top and the bottom. So now it's not a sphere, it's two semispheres. What we can do with that, we can open her eyes. Let's just make them slightly bit bigger. Don't forget to turn on your local symmetry. So now we Ctrl-Shift click. It only selects this shell. Let's turn on double to see what I'm talking about. If you click Ctrl-Shift-A, it will expand your selection towards like the rest of the mesh. So this is just like part of the mesh. Ctrl-Shift-A, and it extends it to show the full mesh. Now we can mask it. And now Gizmo is still conveniently in the middle. We can like rotate it slightly by holding down Alt, invert it, and we can like open the eyes now. Control and click on the canvas, and do the same for the other half. That's how you make eyelids for stylist characters. Hi Layla. Hey Andy. Welcome to the stream. Nice to see you here. What are you working on? Or are you just stopping by to say hi? Hey Layla, how do you set the pivot automatically to your current subtool? How do you mean? So by default you have a pivot. If you just click on W, it will show you pivot. If you want to move it, you can just hold down Control. Oh, sorry, not Control. Alt, and you can move it elsewhere. And now the pivot is here. Alt clicking on the refresh icon, you will refresh the, you will reset the position of your gizmo to default. So orientation like y-axis up, z-axis to the side. So because mine was rotated down, if you don't hold down Alt, what it will do, it will like try to correct it, but it will also rotate the mesh with it. So you see it like rotates it. If you hold down Alt and click, then it will just reset the gizmo. Is that what you're asking, or? Ooh. Yes, thanks. Okay, cool. So yeah, again, you see it's kind of like tilted. If you want to set it to default, Alt click. And if it's ever like somewhere in a random place and you want to set it to the center, Alt and click on the like location icon. For now I'm fine. I was happy with where it was because I'm still adjusting the position of the eyelids. But yeah, I think she's coming along. I added some more muscle groups since last time that we saw each other here. I believe I streamed it even. Me? 1 second. Let me check real quick. No, I streamed something else. Okay, never mind. Yeah, then I did it in my own free time. Okay. Are you going to be making this character in the anime style or your own take on it? I think it's gonna be like anime style, however, it's gonna be closer to Marvel Rivals, if you've seen the style of that game. Not the dotted like shader style, but mostly like the faces and how they treat the bodies. They're like semi-realism, I guess. Yeah. Very muscular though. That's what I'm going for. Ooh, I'm learning something new. Hey, happy to hear that. Bit of both, haha. I'm working on a block out in the moment as well though. I haven't sculpted in about a month due to redecorating my room, so just practicing to get back into things. That's exciting. Redecorating the room. It's always fun. Looking for some references of the profile view of this character. I think I'm gonna lift this up. Ooh, what happened here? More like this and like this. And this needs some smoothing. Big time. I'm gonna set her eyes a bit deeper. Yes, thanks. Alt and click. Thank you. Awesome. That's the best way to learn, honestly. That's how I learned ZBrush. Just sitting down, sculpting something, watching a stream, and then an artist is like showing a feature, and I'm like stopping and watching them, and then I'm repeating the exact same thing as they're showing it, because that's how you memorize tricks. And your skills of sculpting is all about those tricks plus practice that you put in. That's it. It's very simple, really, when you think about it. Like, getting there isn't simple, but the math of getting good is simple. There's really no point in watching a tutorial on ZBrush and not having it open, because you don't learn that way. You will not remember that feature, you will not remember how they did it unless you have ZBrush open, and it applies to any other software. Do you use Substance Painter as well? Yes, I do it. I use it every day for work and for personal projects as well. Yeah, I really like the Marvel Rivals style. Yeah, there have been some videos uploaded recently on YouTube. Some people have been sourcing models from Marvel Rivals. I'm not gonna tell you where from, but they have been. And they've been like dissecting them inside the thing Blender and just showing how much poly count each one of them has, how many texture sets, how heavy their hair is and stuff like that. It's really cool to see that. I'm still not sure about this nose. She's starting to look like her. Giant eyes, thin nose. I think we're on the right track. Perhaps her mouth is a bit too wide, but we can always correct it later. Let's grab this one. Bring it down. Hello. Love you, Layla, and everyone watching the stream. Great. Positive vibes. Are you allowed to upload this base mesh in your Discord? I don't know. It's just like a personal thing. It's not optimized or anything. I was thinking of maybe putting it up for a couple of bucks on ArtStation Marketplace. You can grab it from there. I just don't know if anyone would be interested. It's like such a, I don't know, hack job. Just a bunch of primitives, really. Lower eyelid is very sharp in this corner. Your voice is so soothing. Perfect stream to work along with. Thank you, Anne. That's really nice of you. Somebody told me that I'm a very soft-spoken person not so long ago, and it made me feel very like self-conscious. Then I was thinking about it, and I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Some people are more like loud and their voice sounds exciting and stuff. I'm not like that. But it's okay. Have you ever carved yourself? Carved from wood? I think I've tried it once. There was this pop-up carving station in the city that I live in, and I tried it. Man, it takes skill. On the topic of traditional arts, I've been wanting to attend this live sculpting session of like sculpting from a model but with clay without symmetry. Can you imagine? Yeah, so that's been on my to-do list for this year, but there were some things happening financially, so I couldn't really afford it. I'm hoping either the second part of this year I'm gonna do that, or beginning of next year. But yeah, carving wood, it's like a whole other skill. I wish I was GF like you. Okay. Let's keep the stream art oriented, okay? That's okay. I mean, you're talking as soft, I assume it must be a bit hard with real life conversation, but that's not a real problem in my opinion. Just human trait, I guess. I can get pretty loud when I'm with friends, especially when we're like playing board games, and I get very competitive, very fast, and then I'm probably the loudest person. But yeah, on stream I like to be chill. Yeah, I feel like her eyes are getting into the right shape. Huh. Not too bad. Perhaps I pushed the corners a bit too far. pretty happy. What should we do next? Yes, open her mouth. Let's save before I make any decisions I'll regret. Okay, let's look. Eyelids, pretty high poly. Face, might need one more subdivision. Let's delete it. Now, how do I open mouth? There are a few ways. Which one do I want to do? Yeah, let's go down the safe route that I've done many times before. Let's create a copy and make it invisible. Now let's slice her mouth open. I know how it sounds. Just stay with me. Oh boy. It's gonna be trickier than I thought. Let's grab a lasso tool and switch to like a lighter material so I can see the topology a bit better. Now try to select the lower part of the jaw. That's okay, we can mirror and weld. There you go. That's kind of perfect, actually. That's what we want to see. And this and a bit of this. Okay, we can always do auto groups and select this one. Now let's just smooth it out slightly. Let's hide all of those parts. What we're trying to make is make this mesh one solid group. Cool. Now what we need to do, go to deformation and do a couple of polish by groups passes. Maybe masking groups only. It will mask the border between two groups. Invert it and now polish by groups so it only polishes this area. Okay, perfect. That's what we have so far. Now, remember how we did the same, the trick with the eyelids, where we sliced it and then closed holes? We're gonna do the exact same thing. So Control-Shift-Click to isolate, close holes. Control-Shift-Click to isolate, close holes. What we have now, if we turn on Topological, we have a mouth. One problem is it doesn't have any mouth cavity that in CG industry we call mouth bag. So let's add that in as well. Let's switch to another material. Go in here, let's smooth out this border slightly. Nothing crazy. There are any like stragglers here, just mask it. Polish by groups or just normal polish. Seems to do the trick. I'll read the chat in a second. Just want to finish the mouth bag. So now just either mask it like so. Leave like a centimeter of space as for the thickness of the lip. You can't see it, my face is really small on the screen, but you can touch yourself, right? Your lips. There's 1 centimeter of thickness that we have normally in the lips, even if you have thin lips. One of the mistakes that I see a lot of character artists, junior character artists do, or people who just sculpt characters do, is they don't give any thickness here, and you end up with very like thin mouths, especially when the character opens its mouth and starts talking. You'll see that there's just like no thickness, which is not good, not what we want. Just push it in. Maybe that was a bit dramatic. Do the same thing here. They don't have to mesh perfectly, just remember like a centimeter away from the lip. Like so. And like so. Okay, good. That's all we need really. Now when you open the mouth, you'll see that there's a mouth cavity. Obviously it's not done. What I would do now, let's store a morph target and try and open her mouth slightly. Nothing crazy. Just like so. And why did we store the morph target? It's because we can go to BMG to grab the morph brush. Now all of these nasty Joker cuts that she just got, we can remove them by just doing a quick little morph operation. Okay, that's that. Might be easier to switch to skin shade to see what we have done. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now all we need to do, you can do it either way, I think. I'm gonna keep the groups by just hitting W. You bring your gizmo, go to the cog and go to remesh by union. Let's see what it does. Pretty good. Although there will be some areas here that I don't really like. In this case, it might be a good idea to dynamesh it. And turn off the paint. Dynamesh it again and we'll... So, to explain. If you turn this on, this paint icon, and you dynamesh it, it doesn't respect the polygroup, so we'll get rid of them. If you turn it off, it will not. All we have to do now is just increase the resolution. Just something like 1.5, 2.5K. Sounds good. It does create weird, like, polygroups here and there. Not too bad. We can always rely on ZRemesh guides later. Okay, this is a bit too early. Let's just add the eyelids as well. So merge down. Okay. Have eyelids now too. We can adjust them slightly. Dynamesh again. Oh. Mouth. Oh, like the head with the mouth open. And then we can work with that once we've combined it with the body as well. GF girlfriend? Yeah, I know what GF stands for. How are those drawings going you were working on, by the way? Were those from a course you were doing or something? They were really good. Thank you. No, I was just... so there is a course that I would like to take at some point. It's for character concept art in 2D, because I want to level my 2D up. However, it's expensive, and not right now, because you need a lot of time commitment. But what they did offer is this introductory, like, test sort of thing. You could design some characters given based on the prompts that they gave you. And that's what I did, and I just shared it online. But thank you. I really liked how the alligator came out. It made me think that I want to make him in 3D as well. For those who don't know, maybe I called it crocodile. What did I call it? One sec. Oh. Called it Croc. There he is. So it was a character design exercise. You had to design a waiter animal. He had to be old. And what was it? There were a couple of like adjectives to describe him. I think sly was one of them, or stingy. And he had to be in one of the aesthetics, like the setting of the world could be post-apocalyptic, steampunk, dark fantasy, and a couple more. And I picked steampunk, crocodile, waiter. And that was my first attempt at like coloring it. I don't know if I like the colors though. They're like fine. So these were like my first attempts. I was for some reason very fixated on this possum idea. And I tried exploring it a couple of times. Then I was like, okay, screw the possum. Let's try a fox, a croc, a crab, tortoise, an owl. And then I saw, like, I had to pick one of them, and I really liked how I did the pose of this guy. And so I refined it into this. So maybe one day I'll pick up that course, save up some money for it, and I'll get better at character design. Hey, you doing a course? No, I'm not doing a course. I was considering taking a course. I like your shortcut UI. I wish I could create an interface like that. You can. It's very simple. Just type in custom UI ZBrush, and probably one of the first videos will be by Michael Pavlovich. And he's so good at explaining stuff simply and quickly. What's your goal for this character? Are you going to do a 3D print? No, this is more for an art challenge that I think I'll be late to. I know. But it's still a good practice for me. To do a block out in the face. I'll do my best to sculpt as much as I can. But the deadline is tomorrow. Or the day after tomorrow. It's the weekend, and it's the long weekend here in New Zealand, so maybe I'll finish her. I hope I do. There's a lot of work to do though. How do you increase the brush size without using the slider? S on your keyboard, and it brings up the slider, and that's just the fastest way. I mean, you already have your stylus in hand, so that's the way. I don't think there's a shortcut for like brackets don't work, so I always use S on my keyboard. Hello there. Hello Eric. Welcome. Yeah, he looks great. What course was it that you were looking at, if you can say on stream? I think I can, but it was a course in Russian, which is one of my native languages. So I don't think it's applicable. I'm sure there are others though on, I think CGMA did one. Trying to think of a character design course in English. There was this website that was recommended to me, 21 Draw. I haven't tried it myself, but what they have been offering so far, like from the look of it, I was interested in. So I was considering either doing one of their short courses. I don't know if I can say it on stream. I guess. 21 draw. Yeah. The other one was in Russian. A stingy waiter. Oh no, that can't be good. How much food will be not served? Yeah, I don't know. That was the second color palette. That was the... yeah, no, that was the first one. That's the second. I don't know. I like them both. What do you guys think? I like the vibrancy of the colors on the left. But the one on the right is a bit more muted, and I like this green swampy look, like for the skin, but the rest of the colors don't work for me. So I kind of prefer this one more. The left looks better in my opinion. Yeah, there you go. The olive color seems more like croc color. Right one looks more oldish. Yeah. I think the second one for the colors, right? Like so. Wait, right one looks better? Okay, well, I like them both. Not equally, but... also, your drawing looks really good. Thank you. I did do some drawing, like I drew as a kid non-stop, but I also attended like extracurriculum activity after school, which is kind of like a norm in Moldova. So some kids would be signed up for sport classes, and I was signed up for drawing. I would do that like for another 3 hours after school. I look really fondly at those days. Maybe it's just nostalgia talking. I wouldn't say I learned a lot because I attended that school from the age of 12, or maybe 11 to 14, so for 3 years. And then I discovered 3D in 2014 when I was 14, and I studied 3D for like a year and a half. And then I got an internship in the company, and it's a whole other story, a whole other rabbit hole. I don't know if I want to go down on right now. But yeah, started pretty young. And I wish I stayed in that art school a bit longer, because I could improve my 2D skills even more. And 2D skills really do help in 3D. Some people say you don't need them. I'd say you could really benefit from them. From like knowledge of composition, color theory, gesture drawing, anatomy. What else did I say? Like values, stuff like that, perspective. I guess you don't need to think about perspective that much in 3D, but you know what I mean. That's why I'm seeking 2D courses now, because I've learned a lot about 3D over the past 8-9 years. But my 2D skills have been lacking. Still trying to find my ZBrush UI. Fair enough. Love it. Thank you. Strange question. This model is still in blocking stage. You made base mesh by yourself or used some kind of template? So this was just blocked out on the last stream, and I did some refinement off stream. You can find it 2 weeks ago. It's all primitives, all just spheres and cylinders. This is a bit past blocking, but still very much just refining the silhouette, not so much details. Yeah, more like proportions. Let me see if I like the mouth this way. I guess I do. The lips might be a bit too thin now, but we'll fix it once we've combined it with the body. So that would be the next step. Is taking this, merge down, giving it one subdivision, maybe two. Now merge down. There you go, one solid mesh. Oh, not solid yet, they're not connected. Now one last thing I need to check. So remember how we made that mouth bag? Now, you see it's clipping into her neck. So what we really need to do is just push it out or in, depends on where you look from. So it doesn't clip through the neck. And this way, everyone will be happy. Okay. Now, I think I'm gonna combine these polygroups. Let's see. Oof. Now let's combine these as well. These two. Might be easier to see if I turn off the lines, the wireframe. Now you see that they're very jagged. One way to fix it, let's duplicate her body, hide it. Now remember that trick that we did? Go to masking and mask the borders, invert it. Now let's go to deformation and polish by groups a couple of times. What it will do, it will try its best to polish the transitions between different polygroups. Why does it matter? It's because we're gonna do ZRemesher in one of the next steps. Okay, say that's good. I don't think we even need this transition that much. We'll need some nostrils though, so let's give her some nostrils real quick. They don't need to be pretty at all. They just need to be like indicated on the model. So ZRemesher understands what I want from it. Okay. Now let's go W, cog, remesh by union. Give it a few seconds. Awesome possum. Hit accept. What remesh by union just did, it stitched every part together. So now they're all like, well, stitched. And there's no penetrating geometry anymore. Ooh, her ears are a bit meh. But that's okay, we can fix it later. Check here, nothing's too smooshed together. It's good. Now, let's go ZRemesher, set it to something really high. keep the groups. You can smooth it as much as you want, I think. And ZRemesher guides. Let's define some loops that I want to see on the model. So the base one is the mask, as I call it. Then the lips. Would be nice, and then another one going around the lips. If you're unsure of what your topology of the face should look like, just go on Pinterest and type in animation ready topology, 3D model, character. There are lots of resources on ArtStation too. I think because we have polygroups here, it will naturally create a loop, but just in case, let's give it another loop here. And yeah. Okay, that's not too bad. I think we won't need polygroups on all of these body parts. It's something I forgot to do. Let's just isolate them real quick. Control W to make it one polygroup. That's okay. If we wanted to, we could slice it a little bit. No. Let's select curve instead. Thus slice it, but not in the way that I want it. It's okay. Like so. Please don't crash. Okay. Mirror, mirror and world. I'm just defining these for like ZRemesher to understand what I want from it. Here, there, world. Okay. I think that's enough. Maybe increase the polygon count slightly as well. Let's try again. Nope, remeshing error encountered remeshing. Aborted. Let's go mesh integrity and fix mesh. Let's try again. I'm not saying anything during those moments. It's because it's because it takes a lot of power from my PC, and if I try to speak while also running OBS and ZBrush and ZRemesher, my voice might sound weird. Let's try again. This way, I want to preserve these ones again. Smooth it again. Okay. Oh, something happened with the nose. Okay, smooth them less. Too bad. What if we smooth it and see? Oof. There's some areas like here I would wanna smooth out slightly. I'm gonna turn on the Sculptures Pro. Fingers looking fine. Maybe this area doesn't need to be this pronounced either. Here as well. Okay, we have another half an hour. I think we can make it in time. Curve strength. Okay, ooh, yikes. Man, I swear sometimes I wonder if it's easier to just let ZRemesher do its thing without all of these supports. Let me read the chat. About 2D scale, same things have been told to me in an anatomy course. Yeah. I think that's fair. Oh man, I gotta go. Thanks for all the answers, Layla. The point drag was most helpful. Take care, guys. I'll see you around. You're welcome. It was great to find that out as well. I use Z-spheres to block. It's a little hectic, but much more comfortable for me. Fair enough. So remember, when you draw a line, if you hit Alt, you can curve it. You mean in curve? Yeah, I could, but yeah. Just lazy. Зачем использовать mirror, если используете mirror and meld? Потому что если используешь mirror, оно флипает всегда слева направо, а иногда детали, которые нужны, они на правой стороне. Поэтому оно скопирует левую сторону на правую сторону. А на левой стороне нет того, чего вы хотите иметь. Поэтому нужно сначала mirrorнуть, и потом mirror and meld. Там есть своя логика. Let's try again, but without the polygroups, because they haven't been behaving well. Perhaps just giving it a Dynamesh altogether will help. Put my face as a bit in the spot. Okay. Not as bad as I thought it would be. Let's try to smooth out the areas that I don't like that much. Maybe we could do a separate ZRemesher on the face. Yeah, I think that will be the case. So let's just delete hidden. and try to reduce the polygon count on the body. And I'll show you how we can attach them later together. Don't worry, I have a backup saved with the face, so it's fine. This is looking nice-ish for a ZRemesher operation. It's as good as it gets. What happened to the fingers? They're a bit sausagey. Nothing we can't salvage. This is fine. Okay, I think I like it. I'm gonna keep this one. Now, go back here. Let's duplicate it again. This time, we're only gonna keep the head. Your measure guides. Спасибо за объяснение, очень круто. Пожалуйста. Reason why I'm doing them separate is because ZRemesher is easier to control locally for me, so I can, and I don't have to wait as long because that mesh was really heavy, so it was taking like 10-15 seconds, which is a long time, you know, to calculate. Let's try this. This time, maybe like 5K per side. Alright, keep groups. You can smooth it. Let's try it. Oh yeah, much better result on the lips. Eyelids, not so much. Mayhaps we could get rid of them too. One piece. One piece. Okay, so the only difference between these two polygroups is the eyelids, and I want to make sure that this whole bit is green. Okay. And again, let's just do a quick mask, groups, invert, blur, deformation, polish by polygroups. It just helps the ZRemesher not freak out as much when it tries to smooth the transitions between the polygroups. So, let's do it again. Okay, you know what? I think I can live with that. There's no hole though. It's okay, we'll make a hole. I just forgot to make a hole at the bottom, but I like this result too much to redo it again, so I'm just gonna keep it. Mouth is okay. Could be better, could be worse. Now, the aforementioned hole. Let's just mask it roughly where it needs to go. Now delete it, go to masking, mask border this time, invert it, and polish by groups. Okay, we'll have a hole, we'll have the body. Let's just open it up slightly. Just slightly. Try not to make the mesh too different. Now merge down. Perfect. Okay, now Layla, we have this problem over here. They don't bridge. To which I'll say, worry not, let's save. Turn off symmetry. Hover over the edge, go bridge, 2 holes, and select arcs. Now select one edge on that side and one edge on this side. And let's see what it does. Okay. Mirror loop. Not too bad. How much of her neck do we see? A little bit. But, you know, you win some, you lose some. It's a pretty good result. And that's how you can bridge 2 different meshes with 2 different zero meshers together. Very handy little trick that has saved me a lot of work in the past. A lot of rework. Okay, I'm pretty happy with the overall topology. Now, we lost lots of details from here to here. What we can do is just add 2 levels of subdivision. Turn off the eyes, just turn on this, and project. No color, just geometry. Unfortunately, I'm still trying to learn how to create stylized models on Sculpt course instead of realistic approach for Sculpt. Stylized models are very different from realistic, so perhaps your sculpting course won't teach you that, and it might be a good idea to pick up a stylized character creation course. If you can afford it, I'd recommend it. I believe Shane also has a good one. Polygon has a good one. Yeah. There's plethora of great stylized tutorials out there. Would you say ZModeler? ZModeler? You mean ZModeler? ZModeler is one of the hardest tools to learn. Takes some getting used to. I wouldn't say it's hard at all. All you need to understand about it is that you have 3 different menus depending on which part of the model you're hovering over. So I'm right now hovering over a vertex. So this menu will be just for vertex operations. If I hover over an edge, this will be for the edge, and the same for the face. I don't use all of them, only the ones that I like and need most of the time. And same goes for the rest of ZBrush. I do not use all of ZBrush. Okay, so it has projected some stuff. You will see that some areas did not project fully. And you're like, what the hell? ZBrush, I told you to project everything. Well, what you could do is compare the two. And you'll see that there are like these gaps where it's trying to reach, but it cannot. So the easiest way to fix it is just grab your clay buildup and let's just build it up and reproject it. And there you go. It's perfectly normal now. Same here. you go. Isolate this, build up, project. There you go. I'm gonna do the same thing for her neck. I'm gonna smooth it out though, a little bit. Project all. Awesome. Don't save. ZModeler, yes. No, I don't think it's hard at all. It's the same operations you have in any other software, Maya, Blender. They're just, some of them are named differently. But I've been saying it the past few streams that I have switched to ZModeler about 1.5 years ago, and I haven't looked back. I don't need any other 3D software now to model. I can just model everything in ZBrush, and I do, I'd say 80–90% of the time. At work, I just ZModel. Okay, a couple of issues here as well. Instead of clay build-upping, the other thing you can do is just select this area that failed. And you can slightly inflate it. If you don't know how to do it, just bring your trusty pivot here and control-click on the yellow square in the middle. And if you push it this way, towards the right, you will inflate it. Now let's try to project it again. Let's inflate it some more. Huh? Almost. Almost all the details captured. Might have to do some manual cleanup here and there, but I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Plus I don't need her fingers to look mechanical, like the way they do in the blockout. Almost like doll's hands, so I'm pretty happy with this. And yeah, the rest of the body also looks good. Face looks good. No more fails. Perhaps just here a little bit. Well, we can deal with that later. Now, let me read the chat. I'm taking a ZBrush course from Colosso. It's a bit difficult because the audio is in Korean, but they have English subtitles. Well, that's tricky. You have to learn ZBrush, but you also have to read subtitles, and it's not in your native tongue. I mean, respect, but you're making it really hard for yourself. Can you talk about tools menu and its works very short? What do you use the most? Sure, I can do some stuff. Can we model anything for her? Yeah, we can model her shoulder pads, I think, in like a minute. Or maybe I won't get to it, so let me just quickly demonstrate. Let's just grab a plane, or maybe a cube would be better. Let's group by normals and remesh it to get rid of that nasty top. Okay, cube. Let's grab ZModeler. So let's go over face operations that I do. Most often I do extrude. And this section of the menu will define what kind of operation you're doing. So for me it would be extrude. And this section would define the target. So what are you affecting? A single poly, all polygons, all quads, because sometimes there are triangles, or hangons or whatever. Then all triangles behind. I'm not using any of those most of the time. I'm using single poly or all polygons. Sometimes I want a poly loop, or sometimes I want a poly group. So let's select poly group and you'll see what happens. You see, it extracts the whole poly group, everything that's blue. If I were to select a single poly, it will only extrude a single poly. Very like self-explanatory. Now modifiers. I rarely change anything in here, but it will do exactly what it says it will do. It will say no side polys. So you see, no side polys. Now, what else do I do? Inset is the one I use a lot as well. It's when you need to extrude inwards. And then extrude. Not single poly. You see? What else? Inset is good. Sometimes inset doesn't work very well unless you turn standard on. So there's this, oh, you can't see it. Inset, let's say polygroup all. This time it works. Sometimes it won't, and just changing this parameter to standard will fix it. What else do I do? I really don't like mask is a good one. If you ever wanted to mask just one poly, you can mask it polygon by polygon, or you can mask the entire poly group. There you go. Yeah. Scale is a good one. You can scale a polygon. Right now you see it's scaling to somewhere weird. That's probably because you need to play around with these settings. So polygon center is probably the one that you want if you want to make it smaller here, not towards like the pivot. And that's how it goes really. In edges, the thing that I do the most is insert. It inserts an edge. And recently they have added an option to turn on snapping. So you can snap it exactly down the middle or a quarter, you can see. Or you can set the custom one, or snapping off. By alt clicking, you will delete. So insert, alt is to delete it. Insert, alt, delete. What else do? I do bevel sometimes. Again, does the exact same thing as it says, bevels, and you can select how many rows you want. Or one thing to remember, might be hard to see. I'll do my best. So you see there's this arrow, like an orange arrow that appears. This will define which way the insert or like any operation will go. So let's say we wanted to polygroup and then polyloop. Let's say I want to make all of these polygons in a loop, one polygroup. If I were to hit this way, you see what it does? It goes this way because the arrow was pointing that way. If you point it downwards, it will go this way. It's the trick that I didn't know for like a year of using ZModeler. Shamefully, I know. And I was driving myself crazy. I just want to insert this polygroup and it would like, ZBrush would do the exact opposite of what I wanted. And I was just, yeah, not having fun. And vertices, it's again masking, or you can move it. You can split it. Splitting is a good one. Imagine you're working on a belt and it's a one-sided geometry. Say that's a belt. Yeah. For a character. And you wanted to add hole for the belt. Those holes that you get in the front. You just add a hole. There you go. You have it. fruit, all, trees. There you go. So yeah, just find some time to just sit down and have fun with ZModeler. And you'll learn it in like one evening if you really want to. Okay, that was a quick rundown of ZModeler. Of course, character modeling with ZBrush, I think you would like it. Artistic cartoon style character modeling with ZBrush. Okay. Hello. Thank you. Okay. Sorry if you answered this before, but I wanted to know if there's any courses or methods you'd recommend for someone who's learning. I'm diving into semi-realism Final Fantasy modeling style. Well, let's say you found the right place. This is not gonna be exactly like Final Fantasy, but it's close. It's gonna be this character from an anime adapted in something of a semi-realism style, similar to Marvel Rivals. So you can follow this. We've done the blockout last stream, and now we're just continuing to work on it. If you guys are interested, I can just continue working on this character later as well, like the next stream. But yeah, no, I haven't seen like a specific Square Enix style character modeling course. I know it's a heavy path, but I'm willing to take the time for it, as you should. It's a good challenge. Do you prefer working on a display tablet or regular Wacom tablet? What's the difference between display tablet and regular? Oh, you mean by regular you mean without the screen? I used to have the normal one without the screen. I think it was Wacom Intuos Medium? Something like that. I still have it. I've had it since 2014. So yeah, well over 10 years now. Still works. The cable is busted, but yep, I'm pretty sure I have a dent in it. I don't use it because I like my display screen. It's a Huion Canvas 22, and I just love it. I love having free screens. I know it's a luxury, but I can talk to you guys on one screen, have my reference on the other, and Sculpt on the third. But you can really just get away with one or two screens. Okay, so now we'd like to go to layers, add one, and smooth the hell out of this model. That to turn her back on. There you go. Okay, now that we have smoothed her on the layer, what we can do is smooth this area a bit more. Better. We can decrease it a little bit, and you'll see some of the details will show through from before. You don't need all of them. We could even store morph target. Go to layers, turn on the layer, turn on another layer, BMG for the morph target, Let's say I want to bring in some more definition that we had before for her chest. Maybe some through her arms here and there. Maybe some for her hands here, tummy. So you see I'm like being selective about where I bring the details back. We don't want all of that definition. Some more here. Definitely want some more through the thighs and a bit of the knee. Not too much though. Very little. Down through her feet. Bones. And yeah, maybe a little bit through here. There you go. Stop working and take a break. No. Because I'll be finishing in about 5 minutes. If you guys have any questions, now's the time. Maybe a little bit more for the back. Okay. That's kind of the idea. That's how you get to this point. Obviously, this is not done. If you look at the models from Marvel Rivals, which is my kind of inspiration right now, they have like slicker designs. I don't know if that's even a word. I would need to spend some time refining some of these shapes, getting rid of all the harsh transitions here and there. That's why I like to work with layers at this stage. It's because I can always tone it down, any of the changes that I make. If you don't work with layers, well, whoops. And then your ZBrush crashes and you have the latest save with the changes that you've already made and no history to roll back. Oof, playing a dangerous game. Yeah. So that's the concept of how I approach like stylized character face meshes. So from something like this to this. Obviously it needs more refinement, especially here. Might be a good idea to switch to a slightly glossier material too. Yeah, this is much easier to see all the plane changes. Yeah. Thank you, I learned more in these few minutes than in all the technical training courses. The way you model is more like magic. Thank you, Asim. It's really nice of you. Square Enix has a segment on the summit somewhere on the ZBrush channel for whoever was asking. Oh, I didn't know. I'll check it out. Yeah, ZBrush summit presentations are amazing. That's kind of like a thing I do yearly, is just check all the latest and old ZBrush summit presentations. Even if I work in stylization mostly, I still check like realism presentations as well. One of my favorite ones was from, what's the name of the company? 1 second. I having a brain fart moment. Guerrilla Games with Horizon Zero Dawn and Horizon Forbidden West. One of my favorite games of all time. Not top 3, but very solid games. And they had awesome ZBrush Summit presentations. Can you please explain what resources you think are important for understanding anatomy? Just a good anatomy book. One I recommend for everyone is Anatomy for Sculptors. It's literally called that. It's the best $30 you'll ever spend. And they have a couple of books. I have one for head and neck, and I refer to it for like every project that I make. I refer to it for guidance. Then just like 3D scans that you can find and photos of actual people, usually naked. There are some resources on ArtStation that you can find. There is a studio called Graphite Studio. They do awesome 2D packs of like photos of models, male and female, naked in poses and in T poses too. If you ever wanted to grab one of those, I'm not affiliated with them whatsoever. I just have acquired their packs in the past. I think I have 2. They're really good. Объясните, пожалуйста, суть layers. Я просто не понимаю смысл его использования. Можно ли обойтись без layers? Смысл того, чтобы можно было потом как-нибудь откатиться назад, потому что ты работаешь, скульптишь, и ZBrush крашится, а вся вот эта история, которая у тебя была, все, она слетела, ее не сохранилось. Но у тебя, например, сохранились layers. И ты вот поделал много разных итераций. Вот у меня сейчас, например, вот тут вот я чуть-чуть убрала, как-то по-русски, выраженность этих пляшек. Тут вот наоборот. То есть тут вот вообще убрала выраженность всех. Потом взяла и такая, нет, не хочу так. И откатила на 50%. То есть вот этот вот слайдер можно в обратную сторону тоже выжать, и получится вообще такая Ghost in the Shell женщинка. Вот это вот 100% сглаживание. И, например, хочу типа 50%. Ну и вот так вот работаем, как в фотошопе. The best tutorials are always non-English. They have the best tips and the techniques are not common. Well, yeah, sometimes. Like learning an open secret. It's definitely like a superpower that I've always treated my knowledge of 2 languages, me being bilingual, as a superpower, because I get to draw data, like information on 3D from 2 different sources, and I can Google stuff in 2 languages, which is amazing. And if you're bilingual too and you haven't been doing that so far, what are you doing? I'm sure there are tutorials for you in English and in your native tongue as well. So do that. Boom. Hello, can you tell me how I can sculpt wrinkles and creases in paperback? I want it crumpled looking. Okay, so sculpting it manually, possible. Is it the best way to do it? Maybe not. I have a pack that I can recommend because I have had to sculpt wrinkled paper in the past. And I just got this pack and it made my life easier. Find it. And it costs $1 right now. I'm not affiliated again, just enjoyed this crumpled paper alphas. So I would suggest that you use alphas. You can just type in crumpled paper alpha into Google and try to find something there, or again, I included a link that I used for something I needed to model at work. How to permanently disable quick save. Preferences, quick save. I don't know if you can permanently disable it, but I always set mine to like 600. So unless you're sculpting for more than 10 hours, you should be fine. So rest duration stands for how many minutes you're away from the computer, from keyboard, and you're not touching the screen. So it's gonna save in 600 minutes. This is just every 600 minutes of you working, it's gonna save. So I usually set it to something high. When I'm streaming, I set it to something lower because we've had some fun streams, haven't we? So it's always nice to back up. But I don't think there is a way to permanently disable quick saves. You can delete all of them, the ones that have already been done. Or you can set this to probably 1. Not sure what that's gonna do. Maybe it won't allow it to save more than 1. Maybe that's the way you disable it. Good question. But I would say just set it to 600, and unless you're sculpting for 10 hours straight with ZBrush, then it won't save a single time. I recommend Scott Eaton's anatomy course. Yeah, I've taken that one. I'm sorry, Scott Eaton, it's extremely boring, but it's very good. It's kind of like going to the doctors, you know, you don't want to go there. It's not gonna be nice, probably, but are you gonna get better? Yes. Again, nothing against Scott Eaton, it's just any anatomy course for me that I've ever taken on. So boring. In your opinion, what is harder for you, sculpting organic characters or hard surface modeling? Hard surface modeling, for sure. I'm not bad at it, but if I had to choose, I would always choose organic characters. Я не особо доверяю курсам на русском. Смотря от кого. Я смотрела очень много художников. Не курсы, но типа 3D-шников онлайн, как Оля Ануфриева. Да. Богиня 3D-персонажей стилизованных. Курсы, ну да, я сама не покупала. Do you have a Russian background? Russian motion artists are legit. Have seen very talented work come out of Russia. What do you mean by Russian background? I speak Russian, but I'm from Moldova, and in Moldova we speak Moldovan, but my family is like mixed. So my mom is Russian, but my dad is Moldovan. And then my grandma is Ukrainian, so I grew up listening to so many languages all at once, so kind of like a mix. But yeah, lots of Russian-speaking talented artists out there. Okay, so with that, it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes that we've been streaming. This is how far I've gotten. It's a solid base, if I could say so. Again, needs lots of refinement. Let me show you the goal again. This character, not going for any particular reference, but more like a badass pose with like a gun, maybe one hand on the hip, like torso twisted slightly. It's got this very skin-tight costume, which was the reason why I spent so much time refining the anatomy, and I'll keep on refining it, because all the clothes that are gonna sit on top will show the silhouette of the anatomy and all the muscle groups, so it's important to get it right. Because if you don't get it right and you move straight into the close, you'll not have a good model. Mrs. Worldwide, I wouldn't say so. It's American Germany that wants to spread its... Okay. Yeah, let's just stay here for ZBrush, okay? I don't want to start any conflicts or politics. Okay, with that, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you found some of the tips useful. I believe I said everything I wanted to say in terms of like the tips that I wanted to show. Yeah. And happy sculpting. Happy Friday for anyone who's on Friday already. For me it's 8 PM on Friday. For some of you it's just started. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you... Ooh, on that. I mentioned it in the start of the stream, and I'll say it again. I will be away for a month, and I will only come back in July, because I have to travel back home. See my family. And yeah, next stream will most likely be in July-ish. If not, maybe potentially end of June, but we'll see. Can't promise anything. Thank you for showing up though. And you can follow me on ArtStation and Instagram. I do my best to post on Instagram before I go live, so you don't miss it next time. You can follow me there. All the links are in the description. Thank you everyone, so nice in the chat. Thank you, spasiba, thank you. See you next time. Have an amazing rest of your day.